Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something very important today. No one is coming to save you. No knight in shining armor, no fairy godmother, no magic wand. But guess what? You don't need saving, because everything you need, the power, the courage, the resilience, it's already within you. You just have to unleash it. I wasn't born into success. I had no roadmap, no guarantees. And let me tell you, I've heard no more times than I can count. But here's what I learned. Every rejection, every failure, every time I was told I wasn't good enough, I turned that into fuel. Your failures do not define you. Your comeback does. Power isn't something you wait for, it's something you take. It's not handed to you on a silver platter, and no one is going to come and tell you, here, this is your moment. You have to claim it. You have to believe that you are enough just as you are, and that everything you need to succeed is already within you. The world will always have opinions about who you should be, what you should do, and how you should live. But here's the truth. None of that matters if you don't believe in your own power first. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to fit into certain boxes. Society tells us to be a certain way, act a certain way, follow a predefined path. But who wrote these rules? Who decided what's possible for you? Why should you let anyone else define your limits? Your power comes from the moment you decide that you won't be confined by expectations that don't serve you. It comes from choosing to be bold enough to walk a path that hasn't been walked before, from daring to be different, from standing firm in your choices, even when the world doesn't understand them. Owning your power means taking responsibility for your own life. It means recognizing that you are in control of your decisions, your reactions, and your future. It's easy to blame circumstances, to say, I don't have the right opportunities, or I don't have the right connections. But here's the thing. There are people who have come from nothing and created something extraordinary. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They didn't wait for approval. They made things happen with what they had. That's what power looks like. It's about making the choice to rise, no matter what. Fear will always be there. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But power isn't about the absence of fear. It's about moving forward despite it. The most successful, the most inspiring people in the world aren't fearless. They just refuse to let fear dictate their lives. They know that stepping into their power means taking risks, embracing uncertainty, and trusting themselves even when things don't go as planned. Power is about resilience. It's about standing up one more time after every setback. It's about learning from every failure and using it as a stepping stone to something greater. There will be times when people will try to make you doubt yourself. They will question your capabilities, your dreams, your worth. Sometimes the loudest voice of doubt will come from within you, but you cannot allow that voice to win. You have to train yourself to speak back to it with confidence, to remind yourself of who you are and what you are capable of. You have to build yourself up because no one else will do it for you. That's power. Knowing that you are enough, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. Your power is in your choices. It's in the way you show up for yourself every single day. It's in the way you push forward even when things feel impossible. It's in the way you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Every time you choose courage over comfort, action over excuses, and belief over doubt, you are stepping into your power. And when you fully embrace it, when you stop looking for validation and start trusting yourself, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop you. Setbacks are not the end of your story. They are just a chapter. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has faced failure, rejection, and moments of complete despair. The difference between those who rise and those who stay down is the way they choose to see their setbacks. Do you see them as signs that you should give up, or do you see them as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient? The truth is, setbacks are not roadblocks, they are lessons. They are life's way of pushing you to evolve, to think differently, to become the version of yourself that is ready for success. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that it's a straight road. It never is. The path to anything worth having is full of twists, turns, dead ends, and detours. The people who make it to the top are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who refuse to let failure define them. They are the ones who, after every fall, stood up, dusted themselves off, and tried again. It's not easy, it's painful, frustrating, and sometimes humiliating, but those are the moments that shape you. Those are the moments that force you to find your inner strength. Think about the times you have faced rejection. Maybe it was a job you wanted, an opportunity that slipped away, or a dream that felt like it was falling apart. In that moment, it's easy to feel like a failure. It's easy to believe that maybe you weren't good enough, that maybe you should stop trying. But what if you looked at it differently? What if that rejection wasn't a sign to quit, but a sign to push harder? What if it was teaching you something you needed to learn? Maybe it's preparing you for something even bigger. Maybe it's forcing you to refine your skills, to improve, to approach things from a new perspective. Every setback carries a hidden advantage if you are willing to see it. Failure is feedback. It tells you what didn't work so you can find what will. It forces you to rethink, to innovate, to approach things differently. And when you start seeing setbacks as lessons rather than punishments, you take away their power to break you. You start using them to build yourself up instead. Resilience is a muscle, and setbacks are the weights that make it stronger. Every time you face adversity and choose to keep going, you are building that muscle. You are training yourself to withstand pressure, to adapt, to keep moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against you. And the more you do it, the stronger you become. Suddenly, the things that used to shake you don't affect you the same way anymore. You stop fearing failure because you realize it's just another step on the journey. And you start seeing yourself as unstoppable, not because things are easy, but because you know that no matter what happens, you will find a way through. There is an incredible power in looking back at your struggles and realizing they didn't break you. They made you. The challenges, the losses, the disappointments, they all played a role in shaping the person you are today. And if you can survive those, if you can learn from them, then nothing can hold you back. The world is full of invisible barriers, rules that were never written for you but have somehow been placed in your path. Society has a way of telling people who they should be, what they should do, and what limits they should accept. But those who truly make a difference are the ones who refuse to accept those limits. They are the ones who look at the so-called rules and say, "Who made these? And why should I follow them?" They are the ones who understand that just because something has never been done before does not mean it cannot be done. Breaking barriers is not just about proving a point. It's about creating a path where there wasn't one before. It's about refusing to be confined by expectations and daring to step outside of the mold. It's about choosing to challenge traditions, defy stereotypes, and stand tall in spaces where you were told you didn't belong. When you rewrite the rules, you are not just changing your own life. You are setting an example for others. You are showing the world that limitations exist only in the mind, and that courage is the only thing needed to push past them. History is filled with people who were told no, but turned that into a yes. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every movement that changed the world started with someone who was unwilling to accept things as they were. Think about the voices that were once silenced but refused to stay quiet. The women who were told they couldn't vote, the scientists who were ridiculed for their discoveries, the athletes who shattered records people thought were unbreakable. None of them would have achieved what they did if they had listened to the voices that told them to stay in their place. They saw the barriers and chose to break them instead of bowing to them. People will always try to put you in a box. They will tell you to stay in your lane, to follow the path that has already been paved. But the only way to truly create something extraordinary is to step off that path and build your own. It takes courage, it takes defiance, it takes an unshakable belief that you are meant for more, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise. You cannot wait for someone to give you permission to rise. You have to take that permission for yourself. The most powerful thing you can do is to live on your own terms. Rewrite the rules that do not serve you. If the door does not open, build your own. If a space does not welcome you, create a new one. Be so bold in your pursuits that people are forced to take notice. Do not be afraid to be the first. Do not be afraid to challenge the norm. And do not let the fear of judgment stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. The world does not change because people follow the rules. It changes because people break them. It moves forward because of those who dare to push the limits, to question traditions, to demand more. You are not here to live by someone else's expectations. You are here to rewrite the story, not just for yourself, but for everyone who comes after you. Loving yourself is not an act of vanity, it is an act of survival. In a world that constantly tells you that you are not enough, that you need to be thinner, smarter, richer, more accomplished, or more like someone else, choosing to love yourself is the most radical thing you can do. But self-love is not just about feeling good about yourself. It is about knowing your worth even when the world tries to convince you otherwise. It is about standing tall in your truth, embracing every part of who you are, and refusing to shrink to fit into someone else's idea of perfection. There will always be moments when self-doubt creeps in, when you look at yourself in the mirror and wonder if you are enough. The answer is always yes. You were born enough. Your flaws, your scars, your imperfections, these are not weaknesses. They are evidence of your journey, proof that you have lived, that you have grown, that you have survived. Self-love means owning your story, even the messy parts, even the moments of failure and struggle, and recognizing that they do not define you, they shape you. But self-love is not just about words. It is about action. It is about setting boundaries and refusing to let people treat you in ways that diminish your light. It is about walking away from situations, jobs, or relationships that no longer serve you, no matter how difficult that choice may be. It is about understanding that loving yourself means prioritizing your own well-being, even when the world demands that you put yourself last. There is power in saying, "I deserve better." There is strength in choosing yourself over and over again, no matter how many times life tries to make you forget your worth. And that is where resilience comes in. Loving yourself is easy when things are going well, but real self-love is tested in the moments when everything falls apart. When you face failure, heartbreak, rejection, or loss, resilience is what carries you through. It is the voice inside you that says, "I will not break." It is the ability to pick yourself up again and again, no matter how many times life knocks you down. Resilience is not about never feeling pain. It is about refusing to let pain define you. The strongest people are not the ones who have never struggled. They are the ones who have walked through fire and come out even stronger. They're the ones who have been told no and turned it into fuel. They're the ones who have faced darkness but refused to let it consume them. They're the ones who have been doubted but believed in themselves anyway. That is resilience. It is the quiet, unshakable belief that no matter what happens, you will rise. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry. On those days, self-love is what reminds you to keep going. It is what tells you that you are worthy even when you feel broken. It is what gives you the strength to fight for yourself even when no one else is cheering you on. Self-love and resilience go hand in hand, because when you love yourself enough, you refuse to let anything or anyone keep you down. Success is not just about what you achieve for yourself. It is about how many people you bring along with you. Real greatness is measured not by how high you climb, but by how many hands you extend on your way up. The world teaches us to be competitive, to see success as a race where only one person can win. But the truth is, success is not a limited resource. Helping someone else shine does not dim your own light. It makes the whole world brighter. Lifting others as you rise is about understanding that we are stronger together than we are alone. No one makes it to the top without support, mentorship, or guidance. Every successful person, no matter how talented, has had someone who believed in them, encouraged them, or opened a door when they needed it most. And once you reach a position of influence, it is your responsibility to be that person for someone else. It is not enough to succeed. You must also create opportunities for others to do the same. Today, there is a misconception that helping others slows you down, that if you focus too much on lifting others, you will lose sight of your own goals. But the opposite is true. When you empower others, you create an ecosystem of success. You build a network of strong, capable individuals who, in turn, can support and uplift you. The more people you help, the stronger you become. The best leaders, the most impactful individuals, are the ones who do not just rise alone, but create a legacy that continues long after they are gone. Lifting others can take many forms. It can be as simple as sharing knowledge, mentoring someone who is just starting, or using your voice to amplify those who are unheard. It can be offering a word of encouragement to someone who is doubting themselves, or opening doors for those who would otherwise struggle to get a foot in. Sometimes all it takes is one person who believes in you to change the entire course of your life. Imagine being that person for someone else. Imagine what it would mean to see someone succeed because you chose to help instead of compete. In a world that often teaches people to look out for themselves first, be the one who chooses kindness. Be the one who creates opportunities instead of hoarding them. Be the one who leads with generosity, knowing that true success is never just personal, it is collective. When you help others grow, you grow too. When you support someone else's dreams, you reinforce the belief that there is enough room for everyone. There is no greater fulfillment than knowing that your success has created a pathway for someone else's. And here is the most beautiful part. When you lift others, you inspire them to do the same. You create a ripple effect, a cycle of empowerment that extends far beyond you. The world does not just need more successful people. It needs more people who are willing to uplift, to encourage, to pave the way for those who come next. Because at the end of the day, success means little if you reach the top and find yourself standing there alone. The true measure of impact is not in how much you achieve, but in how many lives you touch along the way.